Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion. We're doing like a little ACOA mini-series this week. That's Adult Children of Alcoholics. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am super mega thrilled to be on this walk with all of you today. And I gotta move a little quickly. Well, if the phone dies, it dies. Then we'll call it a rehearsal once again. So today, this is the third episode. We're going to talk about the role reversal that happens in addicted families, which means that the child often, even like she can be 7, he can be 7, they can be 8, whatever, takes on emotionally, sometimes also physically with working and doing whatever, the role of the parent, because the parent just isn't able to be a grown-up due to the addiction. And it doesn't mean all the time. It can come in and out just because addiction, there can be a bad week and then a better week and then a bad week. But no matter what, the child learns and takes on the pressure at a young age of doing what the grown-ups should be doing. And this really takes its toll, and honestly has largely to do with why many ACOAs often feel like they didn't have a childhood, like they lost a childhood. It's not all of this, but it's largely this. So, I can remember definitely feeling responsible for my sister, which is also because I'm the oldest. 5.5 and almost 6 years between the two of us. And to this day, she has very little idea of how much I protected her from, because you just take it on even as a child. And so the big deal is what happens when the child takes on the emotional and or physical role of the parent is that we learn very quickly that our needs are not important. And of course, this is not the natural way things are supposed to go, because a child's needs should obviously be first. And a child learns quickly that their needs aren't important and that they've got to caretake the parent in whatever way. And this is huge because she's learning that her needs aren't important, and then that translates into I'm not important. So there's the shame and the feeling of unworthiness that is a big, huge seed planted right there. And then this leads directly to codependency issues in adulthood, because she's learned to put her needs second to other people, or third or fourth or fifth. She's the oldest, and she's caretaking the best she can to younger siblings. She's learned that she is last on the list. And then this goes, right into adulthood with the codependency thing and caretaking other people for self-esteem reasons, because she's learned that in order to get love, she has to do stuff for other people. And this is gigantic and wreaks havoc in adults, and leads to romantic relationships that aren't the healthiest, because she is learning to enable, and she's learning to rescue, and she's learning that her feelings aren't important, that she's not important, and such and so on. And these can also be subtle. And one of the reasons too that I'm decided to make this series of videos is because addiction is like an equal opportunity employer. We as they said, that was said to me way back when, because a lot of times, like, stereotypes demographic stereotypes and stuff are attributed to addicted family systems. And one of the reasons I'm kind of speaking out about this is because I came from from the outside looking in anyway, the most regular middle class. We lived in this little house, 3 bedrooms, ranch, in a regular neighborhood, 16 Cherry Hill Road, and little did anyone know that it was living hell a lot of the time. And they'd see us skate off to the Jersey Shore for a week in the summer, the occasional Yankee game, which was loads of fun. They'd see all this stuff and like, oh, it looks like, 2 cars used, but actually my dad had a company car. The other one was usually very used. But we just looked like so regular, and there was so much, oh my gosh, there's so much emotional turbulence and just toxic behavior going on and behind those closed doors, and people wouldn't have known. And I remember one of the things, because My mother had some severe emphasis on severe mental health issues, and one of the ways that I remember being like an emotional role emotional role of parent was when she would occasionally, she cooked at night, which is good, and we sat as a family, so there's that too. That's why it's so difficult sometimes. She would make, a dinner, and then sometimes she would have a wave of I don't know, and she would just be loud and yell things and pull all this attention onto herself and like go skating off into the bedroom and slam the door. I remember being like 12 years old, and my dad would coerce me into going to pull her out of the bedroom because in here I'm feeling guilty because she made the dinner and now she's not eating the own dinner she made. I wasn't even part of the conversation. I was just yelling, and she was feeling low and in a bad mood, and she wanted to prove everything. I don't know what it was about, honestly, but it happened enough. So he would, kind of persuade or manipulate me into going to pull her out of there. And I don't want to pass judgment on him either, because it was a lot of mental illness to deal with for everybody, and his way of fixing it and bringing her back was to send me in to go try to coerce her back to the dinner table. That's a lot of pressure on a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old kid, and never mind the guilt about again, she wasn't eating the dinner she made kind of thing, just ridiculous. And there are lots and lots and lots of situations like this. I didn't have the situation where I had to make macaroni and cheese for my little sister or anything. That wasn't it. But there was a lot of emotional twists and turns that just weren't my job. And so I was to think about it. So when somebody's manipulated, even if it's an adult with another adult, the person caves to whatever it is the other person is after. Their power was taken away. It's not good for the self-esteem. And also I'm in a situation where, my dad's in charge. I had to please my dad, so I didn't really have a voice in that. I knew it was wrong. I knew it felt horrible and guilty and terrible, but I was, coerced into doing something that made no sense to me. And then I also was on some level aware of her behavior being rewarded, which was completely unacceptable. And it was just strange to have that role. And then once she got into AA, she left a lot, which was good. She was trying to be in recovery and all that, or being in recovery and all that. But a lot of times she just skipped out, like it'd be Easter or something. And here I'm the teenager, and my dad was all sad and stuff, and what do we do? I didn't know how to cook. But he said, here, I'll give you, I think I even offered, I don't remember, and I looked it up. I looked up how to make a lamb and mint jelly and stuff, and if I remember right, it came out okay, but not really the point. And off I went to take over that whole role. I don't remember how old I was, but I had no idea what I was doing. There's more the emotion, like rescue raft stuff, that just wasn't healthy to put on a kid. And again, the idea with these videos is not to place blame. I'm way past that. I'm just explaining. Not complaining, not explaining. That's very Wayne Dyer. Don't complain, don't explain. It's just how it is, because hopefully people can identify and relate. And when, it's just like, the family system's like a body, right? So if your ankle's sore, your whole body's sore. If you have an abscessed tooth, it's nothing else you can think about. With somebody who's severely mentally ill in the family, it affects everybody. And so my dad in that particular situation, I'm sure, was doing the best he could with it. It's just not healthy for anybody. And then my little sister is watching the whole thing, and it was just bad, So role reversal. So I also learned to put other people, very much first. I learned not to value myself for a lot more reasons than this. This is just what we're talking about, is role reversal. I learned that my needs were not important. I learned that I wasn't protected. Much more to that later. Needs not important, not protected. Must take care of parent as a kid. And that all, leaks into, future issues with, not feeling like I had a voice, and feeling like I grew up thinking like I had to do stuff into my adulthood. I had to do stuff to feel like a good person. And that largely came, not just the circumstance again, but the role reversal thing really, really feeds into that big time. I learned to be a human doing. If I want to get love, if I want people to like me, if I want to like me, if I want to feel like a good person, I have to do good things for people and put their needs before mine. And so there you have it. Role reversal in an addicted family. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful woods in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.